Kathleen, thanks for coming in today to do a little bit of video with us for Kids. I know you're a very busy lady, actress, mother, wife, and we really appreciate your time to come in. I want to ask you to start with about because you're from the East End, about what's your earliest recollection of growing up in the East End?
My earliest recollection? Probably just starting school, really. When I was at school, there was lots of kids. It's a big competition at school, basically, in how you look and what you wear and stuff like that as well. There's a lot of pressure on what clothes you're going to put on, what shoes you're going to wear. You've got to be matching. If you don't have the same as what everybody else has got, then there's a lot of hassle. You get lots of bullying, you get name calling and stuff like that. It's quite hard growing up in the East End, but then again, I'm quite proud of the fact that I grew up in the East End in a council estate. It's made me who I am today. And
but you actually had a fairly good child, or a fairly good family unit, and I've met your mum and dad, fairly close family, but I assume that there were people around about you that weren't as fortunate.
I know lots of kids that were like that growing up. There's one person that I know that growing up, he was doing really, really well at school. Brilliant example for this type of thing, for the charity. Growing up at school, he was a straight A student at school, getting everything, doing really well, and then his mum and dad split up, and his dad moved down south, and within a year he was like life depended on drugs and dropped out of school and just went downhill, basically because he didn't have that stability at home.
So the support was gone?
It was there. It just fell away from everything. He didn't have any support, and his mum kind of lost track of, you know what I mean? She didn't obviously feel confident in herself, so.
Yeah. And is that fairly typical, or is that an unusual story?
I think it is. I mean, a lot of the kids in the East End are out till like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, because their mums and dads they're not even bothered about it. Yeah. Out in the streets, they've nothing else to do. They think it's cool, and I think their way of getting attention is by going out and getting involved with all the wrong crowd and getting into trouble, because that's them getting noticed because they're actually doing things wrong. They think that's their way of getting
peer pressure to do what the others do. You still live in the East, or fairly near the East End.
It's in the outskirts of it.
And you mentioned earlier on you're quite proud of growing up in the East End. What's your sort of fond memories of growing up?
I remember when I was younger, we used to go to the summer games, which was brilliant, because that kind of stopped us from going about the streets. When school was out and school stopped, we used to go to the summer games. That's not there. It's not there anymore. We don't have any like the summer games, so there's nowhere for the kids to go. That's what I loved about it. We used to take us away for like weeks' holidays and stuff, and keep you off the streets. You always had something to do, playing at rounders with everybody out, and all the mums and dads would come down and play at rounders as well, which was good as well. Don't see anything like that now. You don't see any of the kids out playing at elastics or hide and seek. Nothing like that. I mean, I've drove down my street where I stayed years and years ago, and all the houses have been pulled down now and everything. It's so, it's quite sad to see it.
Yeah. And do you think that with kids is filling that gap where the summer games is gone and kids haven't got anything to do? Can you see in the work that with kids are doing that they are filling a gap? Yeah. Definitely, because
they provide services where they've got like cinemas where families can go and spend the night as a family watching a film, and they go away for the day. They take them away for the day as well, which is good, because it's getting them to explore other parts, and that some kids don't really get. Some kids from the East End don't even get to go abroad on holiday. Do you know what I mean? There's people that I know that haven't even never been abroad on holiday, and they're like 18 now. they've never had that because their parents have never been able to afford it.
So they've never really seen life outside Glasgow?
No, I mean, I'm not saying that there's people like that everywhere, you know what I mean? Some of their families can't afford to go abroad, but it's quite more often than not. Mostly, everybody's usually never been abroad to go to Port Seton or go to the caravans and stuff like that.
I spoke to one of the parents, and one of the big things for them was the fact that they put on things to do during summer holidays, because that's a time when kids get particularly bored because they haven't got school to fill their day.
That's why I liked the summer games, because that was in the actual summer holidays. So you used to always look forward to that, getting up. You used to get up really, really early, 8 o'clock in the morning, and go there just to play like hula hoops, and they had all different types of games. There was lots of kids there as well, so everybody got to interact. Which is a great idea. I don't know why they stopped doing that. Even community centres up where I was brought up isn't a community centre anymore. You know what I mean?
So why have you decided to be an ambassador for West Kids?
Well, being brought up in the East End, I'm very proud of it. I mean, it's played a big part in who I am today. I've learned a lot. It's made me more streetwise. And with kids, if they can make a difference now to the people that are growing up, because half the stuff that were there when I was younger isn't there anymore, and that's what they're there to do, try and fill in and make sure that they are getting a good, stable background and support when they're growing up. Like the teachers at school, they'll have a big part in it as well. They can pick up if they can see a difference in the kids, or the parents as well, and then they can step in and try and help the parent or whoever who's supporting that child, give them what they need.
Yeah, it really is quite important that these early years, I think, in terms of shaping you. One of the things that Robert Carlyle and David Eustace said to us was it provides the opportunity for kids to be what they can be. And I know your story is slightly different, because I can just ask you about how you got to where you are now, because I know you got a break to become an actress. Can you tell us how that came about?
It's just basically completely luck, really. I was in the right place at the right time, just walking along the street, and I got the opportunity to go in an open audition, and I did it. I mean, I had the choice to, and it was my choice whether I was going to go for it or not. I mean, I had nothing to lose, so that's why I made the decision to go down. I went down, and my life has completely changed since then. So it just goes to show that anybody can do that.
Yeah, so it does happen to people.
Yeah, it totally does happen.
But you had already trained in hairdressing?
In hairdressing, that's what I was training at the time, to be a barber, and qualified now, but at the time I was training. I've always wanted to do, I'm quite artistic, so I've always wanted to do hairdressing or drawing as well. I was really good at art at school. I loved all that kind of stuff. But you were talking earlier about sad times growing up. It was quite, there's something that I can really remember when I was growing up. There was a guy that, when I was younger, his girlfriend used to babysit us. So I kind of knew him really well. He was always there when we were growing up, and he was murdered in Ballanark because of a girl, really. You know what I mean? That's how fickle it is, and that kind of opens your eyes up to things. I mean, he's a really good guy because he stuck up for a girl. He was murdered, sword right through him in the street. You know what I mean? So it's pretty tough growing up there. So it makes you a wee bit more aware of who you're talking to and stuff when you're out and about. To me, I think it's, I don't know, that's one of my saddest times I've grown up.
I suppose that's quite frightening thought for kids to be growing up in that environment, but do you think it's helped you later in life to be tough?
It's definitely helped me cope with other things that's went on in life in the future, and it will do in the future as well for myself. It's like, if you can get through stuff like that, and the way I think I can get through anything. I'm not that type of person. You should always be optimistic I always think about the positive side of things rather than the negative things. When I was growing up, there was a lot of pressure of me because I didn't go about the East End. Well, I did go about the East End, but I didn't go about in Ballanark, where I grew up. I went about Baillieston, and for that I get a lot of hassle for that because I didn't go about the area that I lived in. Yeah.
Why did you not go around that area?
Because the way I saw it was... Yeah, my mum obviously used to always say to me, oh, I don't want you hanging about the streets, hanging about closes and stuff like that. And that's all people did in Ballanark. That is, but there was nothing to do.
That's where you were probably more fortunate. You had both mother and father at home influencing, and still have, but I think one of the problems there is the high level of single parent families. Yeah. Where they're probably maybe not as influential over the kids.
I know, well it's quite hard, and it's hard being a parent. I know myself, I'm a parent myself, so I know at times when Martin's at work through the day and I'm here, everything's on one plate, it's hard. So I can imagine having that every single day, 24/7, and you don't have anybody else to get support from, and that's what With Kids is there for. They try and encourage the parents to actually ask for help, rather than just sit in the house and don't want to go anywhere and tell anybody else their problems or what they're going through. Because it's quite hard to admit when you think you're failing at something. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's very, very hard. Nobody ever wants to admit that they might not be doing it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just going back to your career then, what message would you give to kids who have ambitions? I mean, first of all, is it possible to set your target too high, do you think? Or do you think kids should be encouraged, like, if you really want it, you can get it?
Oh, I definitely think kids should be encouraged. If you want something, then go for it. I don't think anything's too big for anybody. In fact, if you set your goals high enough, then you can get so far and you'll still be, I mean, you might be glad to get just halfway, but always set them that wee bit more higher so that you can always have that goal to keep reaching and keep going. I mean, if you set them too low, then you're never going to get any further than that. So here, keep setting them that wee bit higher, then it gives you drive to be successful.
Good. So what's your next goal?
What's my next goal? I don't know. What's
Hollywood.
My next goal? Yeah, I'll have an Oscar. I wouldn't mind having an Oscar, a #1 single. So you never know.
Something I asked Robert Carlyle. He's, you know, obviously you and he are both doing very well in your acting careers, but he still lives in Glasgow as well. Would you always live here, regardless of how successful you were?
Definitely. My husband's from the south side, and it wasn't a question. He wouldn't even ask me if I wanted to move away from, even though I'm just literally right in the outskirts of the East End. I quite like being close to my family, very close to my family, all my family. I'm quite a big family, and every single one of us none of us have moved away. We're all quite close to each other, 5 minutes in the car, and I don't think he even thought about even asking me that question because he knew the answer before, so it wasn't there at all. But yeah, family I think is important. Getting the right support.
Yeah. Okay. Anything you can tell us about film-wise, work-wise?
There's a couple of things in the pipeline, so nothing I can really talk about just now, but you will see me on TV soon.
Good. Thanks very much for coming in, for doing this little bit of video. Thanks very much for your support for With Kids. I know they fully appreciate what you do, and I know you do work for other charities as well. So on behalf of With Kids, thank you very much for all you've done for them.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.